Hello there and welcome to the first episode of 4TimsWeekly podcast for 2022. You join us on Tuesday the 11th of January, it's about 7:30. So what's happened since we've been on? Well, we'll start with the latest news. Full capacity crowds will be back as of the next round of fixtures, which comes this Monday when Celtic are at home to Hibs. We've made a few signings, signed 3 Japanese boys, Ideguchi, Hatate and Maeda, and we've also signed Johnny Kenny. So, quite a wee bit's happened since we've been on. Andy, I'll come to you first. It was quite the thing on Hogmanay when Celtic announced a triple signing. Usually we're used to 11 for deadline day moves, but for once it was a bit proactive from Celtic, and they got the 3 signings in before the bells.
It was a good wee bit of business by us. I was actually surprised. I mean, I know it's been rumoured for long enough that we were going to sign the 3 of them, but you know what Celtic are like, and we all expected this to drag the arse out it and to hear the excuses for the board as to why we brought them in the tail end of January as opposed to right at the start. So it was a nice surprise. And obviously you want to see sort of 3 guys that have just come off the back of a season finishing, so they will all be fit enough to hopefully get right into the team. I don't know if there's been any niggles or anything that perhaps kept them at the tail end of the rain seasons. I wouldn't confess to knowing. But as far as I'm aware, they're all fit enough. So it's probably been a good time, like coinciding with the winter break and stuff like that, and getting training, and sort of bedding themselves in, and hopefully making a claim to get in the starting lineup going forward. Obviously, the young boy for the League Island as well. Good bit of business, I would expect. That's something for the future. But there's absolutely no harm in that. And then obviously we're linked with the Australian boy as well, which by all accounts people seem happy enough. I know there's been a few of the Australian journalists that were speaking about Ange when he first came in, talking about him and sort of talking him up a wee bit. But it seems to be that we're getting business done and we're getting it done early. Obviously, Ange had a lot to say about the way we were sort of conducting business early on when he first came in the summer. And by all accounts, he was right. We sort of pissed about too much, as per always. Like just mess about in the transfer market, but it seems to be that there was targets identified, and I mean, 3 of them getting done so early is not really something I've seen for Celtic in fuck knows how long. So that was obviously massive. Hopefully there'll be a couple more. I would expect to see people sort of moving out the other way. I know that we've obviously spoke about how thin the squad is for long enough now, but I would expect to see a couple of sort of fringe players and the players who couldn't even sort of get in the team who were fucking down to bare bones. And maybe even a couple of younger boys, whether it's like Montgomery or something, get out on loan to try and get a bit of game time consistently. And obviously improve on sort of the limited opportunities they've had at Celtic. I know Sorrow's been linked to a move to the MLS. I don't think we're done yet. I think it's usually you would probably be thinking if Celtic had made 3, 4, maybe 5 signings in one transfer window, that could be it. But going by the summer and then how quickly we've done business here, I suspect there may be a few more things to come. But I was fairly happy though. Again, we've struggled in terms of once Kyogo's been out any time, we've really struggled and wavered. He's just not been it. It's not came after him at Celtic. He's one of the ones I would suspect are looking to move on, and Giacomakis has been hampered by injuries. A few people writing him off already, which I think is harsh. But again, Maeda coming in, looks pacey, top goal scorer in the J League. You're really excited to see what he can produce here. And then obviously Ideguchi plays in the middle of the park, position that we'll be utilising quite strongly, I would assume. I actually think he's got something about him. I don't know what it is. He's probably the one that most people have probably swayed towards the other 2, but there's something tells me there's going to be a good player there. Because obviously he's been at Leeds before and it's not worked out in Europe, so I don't know why that one's sticking out to me. And then Hatate's another one who's obviously that famous word versatile, but he seems to like to get about the park and play in a few different positions, and I mean that's going to be important. We've seen what injuries has done to us already this season, so a player like that is massively important for us. But all in all, buzzing with the start to the transfer window. Hopefully a couple more bits of business in, darling, and we can really kick on and sort of have a go at this second half of the season.
Definitely, as you say, the 3 Japanese signings had been heavily linked to in the few weeks up until they were announced. Danny, what have you made to the start of the transfer window? It's a good triple deal, but it looks it seems to Celtic seem to have got value for money in the Japanese market. Obviously, that'll need to come to fruition when the players take to the field, but the fees weren't very big, so it's quite a low risk gamble, I would say. How have you seen Celtic start to January, and is there any of the new signings that have caught your eye?
It's very promising for a change that we've actually got a couple of deals over the line, before even the window opens. It gives, obviously the window getting brought, the winter break getting brought a wee bit forward, it gives them even more time to come in and settle, which is always good. I still think we're short in some places. I still think we need a few more players, but it's encouraging that we're in the 11th of January. We've signed 4 confirmed, and there's an Australian boy that's just about to sign, so that's promising. And obviously talks with Jota and Carter Vickers seem to be going really well as well, so we could theoretically confirm, sign 5 new players, but confirm at least 7 transfers before the fitness comes back, which would be great. But no, it's all about, we've got a target, and they're 6 points in front of us, and they're our target to the rest of the season, and we just need to go after them now, and hopefully the board can. I don't think the team will be complete by the end of January, but hopefully they've given him Ange enough that he can go and set about this target and get us the league, because we need to give ourselves the best chance possible. Winning the league's too valuable this year, no to win it, and signings like the 3 boys, I'm really intrigued about the Gucci boy, Isaki Gucci. I think he, I don't know, I just think he could be the one that comes through and is the best of the lot. I've seen a wee back him who looks like likes to break the play up, which is we need somebody like that, and don't we're not talking about Sorrow that runs in and gets his cell booked after 6 minutes in a game and then walks a tightrope, even though it doesn't really stop him flying into tackles. But we need somebody that's clever, somebody that can come in and win the ball, but he also looks like he can take part in the up the field as well. So I'm looking forward to him. I don't think he'll start in the team. I think Maeda and Hatate will probably be feature more than him initially, but I do think as the future goes on, I think Ideguchi will bring his cell into the team. But just looking forward to see the news today about the crowds coming back and with the boys signing and stuff, and just buzzing for the FITMA next week. I just can't wait to see Celtic play again.
I am the same, just on what you says about Ideguchi. I watched one of the 67 Hail Hail videos that they done on the new signings, and Ideguchi does seem to be the one that I think there's a few Celtic podcasts that have had Japanese journalists talking to them, and Ideguchi seems to be maybe the one that they don't think will break in straight away. But I think that Ideguchi seems to have a point to prove. He released a statement to his club letting them basically know that he feels that he's got unfinished business in Europe. So I think that the fact that we've got him and he's here with a point to prove can only benefit us. Maeda is one that really excites me. I think he just looks like he'll be a handful for everybody in the league, and his pace looks like it'll do a lot of damage, and it just gives much needed support for the front line as well. Like, I know there's COVID issues and stuff, but you've seen the few games before the break where we were sort of struggling when we didn't have Kyogo and Jota, so having reinforcements in it can only help that. But I am, as you say, Danny, it's great to hear positive noise coming about Jota and Carter Vickers. Obviously, that still remains to be sealed for either of them. But if we get one or both of them this transfer window, then I think that'd be massively sort of a massive signal where Celtic want to go and that they want to bring these players in now and not wait till the summer. Tony, what have you made? As we said, we've got the 3 Japanese boys brought in, and as Andy said, the 18-year-old Johnny Kenny, he might be one for the future, but a promising start. And I've also got a few players like Christopher Julian and Karamoko Dembele back in training as well.
I think it made the obviously the conspiracy that we come up with to get the winter break brought forward worth it. I'm glad that all the other clubs worked with us to give us an advantage and to throw sport and integrity right out the window. So I'm delighted. and hopefully other players will be back fit for the upcoming games, like Jota. Well, it was great. I mean, we seem to have identified the 3 players for Japan, and it was rumoured for a long time, and then we got them in at the earliest opportunity. They seem to be tailor-made for the Postecoglou style of play, which is good, because over the years I've seen us sign players and you kind of go, what is the point? Don't see where it fits, but it makes sense. I think it reminds me a wee bit of the Rodgers era, where the manager seems to have all the power. Whether you think that's right or wrong is a different issue, obviously, regarding sporting director or director of football, but it's encouraging for me. I think the manager's earned the backing. We've spoke a lot about the fact he won the League Cup and he put on a decent show in Europe, and he's done reasonably okay in the league. Obviously, we would like to be closer to the top than we are, but we're still well in with a chance to win the league. So I think it's great that the guys are in. I was at the press conference today with them. It was nice enough for them to take the time to answer a couple of questions for the fans. So and what I gathered for it is I don't think Japanese and English translate very well, but I get the feeling that these guys want to do their talking on the pitch, and there's a real buzz about them, a real excitement, and obviously their fellow countrymen has kind of lit up Scottish football and produced in high profile games. So it's great. It's something we need. The squad needed major reinforcements, and to get 3 in on day one of the window is brilliant. Obviously we're looking at the guy, I think it's McCree, I don't know if that is it, the Australian boy that was at Birmingham. I think he's currently with, is it Charlottesville in America? Apparently we've signed him, but he's obviously not been announced yet. And then there's ongoing talks for Jota and Vickers, and you mentioned the boy Kenny signing as well. So we're very proactive. I think you need to speculate to accumulate. That looks as though we're doing that. And as much as the main focus is winning the league, and it'd be a major disappointment if we don't manage it, but if we're being realistic, we're still laying foundations for seasons to come, irrespective of what happens here. So in terms of the rebuild, we're 6 months in. It's looking good. We've won a trophy, and I think the big one for Ange will be he needs to beat Rangers. It's something we've not done in over 2 years, which isn't good enough, especially for where we came from and how we performed really consistently well in those games. So I think that'll be a big one. But before then, there's a lot of football to be played. I'm sure we'll touch on Monday's game and the announcement today. But no, I'm happy. If the manager wants a player and then we go and sign them, then that's a reason for everybody to be happy. It shows a unity. I'm not going to start praising the board to the high heavens. I think Nicholson's still got a lot of making up to do after the Higgins fiasco and the silence over that. But I mean, it seems quite competent to me that the manager says, I want these 3 players, and we get them in immediately. So I can only give them credit for that side of it. But still a long way to go, and I'd still like to see us get another goalkeeper in and ship some more of the players that won't be playing, like Barkas, Bolingoli. I think Andy touched on Ayeti as well. Players that's just no worked for, and it isn't ever going to work. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we do the rest of the window. I'd be really encouraged if we can sign Jota, because he has a major talent. We've had a debate in the chat that Celtic could probably sign him for 6 and flip him for 20 in the summer, and that wouldn't surprise me. Just such a great player to watch. But hopefully if we sign him, he's here for the foreseeable.
I definitely, as I said, that we hopefully we do hear a lot about Jota in the coming days, whether that be getting back to full fitness or if we can get the deal agreed, that would be fantastic as well. But Andy, as Tony was speaking about, the transfer window works both ways. Celtic have already offloaded a few. You've got like Ewan Henderson's joined Hibs on loan, but he's also signed a 3-year pre-contract with him, so his Celtic career's done, so he'll be off to Hibs, much in following the footsteps of his brother. And Liam Shaw has went on loan in Motherwell, but one of the more interesting bit of speculation about transfers going out is the Serie A interest and Stephen Welsh. Celtic have knocked back a loan bid, and I think they knocked back a permanent transfer bid as well. But quite interesting that a Serie A team's in for somebody like Stephen Welsh, and what's your thoughts on it? Is somebody Celtic should be looking to keep a hold of this transfer window?
It's a weird one, or the movement to Serie A recently, because obviously I don't know whether if they just started looking after the success Hickey's having at Bologna, and Henderson's obviously having it in Poli, but I've seen, off topic, but I think it's the boy Ramsey for Aberdeen. I think it was Bologna again. I've been sniffing about him, as well as some Bundesliga team, and then obviously the news came out about Stephen Welsh being linked to Udinese. It seems as if it's a market that Italian teams are sort of starting to look into, and fair play to them. But the Welsh one, I've seen a lot of opinion about it, and a lot of people sort of toing and froing and arguing about it online. And I said I've been critical of Welsh in the past, but I've probably been critical about just about everybody in that team that was there for the last 12 months. But I can see arguments for both sides. I'm probably imagining here, but I mean, if you look at Carter Vickers, Starfelt, Julian's just obviously back for injury, but you would assume he's right in and jumping above Welsh in the pecking order. So you're looking at your fourth choice centre half. But again, he's a young boy. He's improving. He has get better for where he was 12 months ago to where he is now, in my opinion. I think he would only improve further, sort of playing with sort of international players like Starfelt. Obviously, he's got his faults at the same time, but he's a massively experienced player. He's played in Sweden, played in Russia, playing here now. He's getting international caps. Julian, a guy that spent a lot of time in sort of the top division in France. And then Carter Vickers, who's obviously played down south and played alongside good centre halves and stuff like that there. So he is only going to improve while he's here, but would he improve enough to ever really break into the Celtic team? I'm sceptical about whether I think he's good enough to ever really cement himself as a Celtic centre half. And again, you're getting offered money for him for abroad. It's a difficult one. Like I say, I can see arguments for both sides. I'm not going to be disappointed either way what happens, just as long as that we don't sort of sell him on the cheap if we do happen to let him go. But it's a strange one, Dan. It sort of came out of nowhere, as you said, but I would be inclined even just to say, just for how unlucky we've been with injuries so far, and sort of the way COVID seems to affect us like nobody's business and wipe it off the team sometimes. I'd be inclined just to say, if they really want him and we're going to let them go, just get used to the end of the season and then you can have him. Because I've got no doubt in my mind if we went and Celtic would be our fourth choice centre half, we'd end up having to bring one of the young boys up like Dane Murray again and put him in. So I'd be inclined to keep him if he were sort of pushing me, and if we were going to let him go, make it the end of the season.
I think it would have to be something quite special being offered now for Celtic to let him go. He's obviously somebody that Ange's used quite a lot this season. I know he played quite a bit last season due to sort of circumstance, but Ange clearly rates him. He's a Scotland under-21 captain, and I think it was just sort of left field that sort of caught a lot of people off guard. But as you say, there's a lot of sort of Scottish players and maybe some English players who have went to countries like Germany, Italy, Holland in recent years. So whether it's just them opening the horizons or the European clubs just sort of looking a bit closer at the talent coming through these academies, it's an interesting one because you mentioned Dane Murray there. Obviously, Welsh and Murray started in some of your qualifiers early in the season, and whilst Murray had less experience at the time than Welsh, he sort of just reverted back to the youth team or that, whereas Welsh is, well, I know Julian's coming back, but we don't know when he's going to be fully match fit, so Welsh is very much the one that you bring in when either Carter Vickers or Starfelt isn't available. So I just don't think there's any real way we could afford to let him go at this time, because if you let him go and say Carter Vickers gets a suspension or an injury or Starfelt, then you're looking at probably putting somebody like Beaton in there. So until we're sort of in a stronger position, I don't think it's really somewhere that we can afford to lose bodies at the moment. But I think it is one, because I know we've spoke at length about Welsh on here. Some people think he has a sort of ceiling that he'll reach at Celtic, but as you mentioned, will it be good enough to make him a first team regular? And then that's up to Welsh to prove. And as I say, Ange probably likes him, so he does like him. No probably about it. He's used him often enough this season, and you know what, Welsh has equipped himself well, and that's probably why he's getting this sort of attention. So, I can't see him going, but it's just, I think the wage bill's that big now, and fans are back, which is obviously bringing income back to the club, but it's the wage bill's got to be getting really stretched out. I know we lost a lot in the summer, and it's a massive rebuild, but when you've got big earners like Bolingoli and Ayeti and Barkas and these guys that cost millions of pounds, Celtic will have to eventually start selling players again and looking to make a profit, because we've brought the full signings in, and if you're still looking at bringing Carter Vickers and Jota in a permanent, that's going to be another 12-13 million you're going to have to need to ship out in transfer fees alone, never mind wages and signing on fees and things like that. So it'll be interesting to see how we do grow. I don't think we will lose Welsh this transfer window, but it'll be one to keep an eye on. But we'll move on for transfers now. Obviously, we'll be back when more comes in. Riley McGree is the one that has been spoke about. I was speaking to Adrian, who was on our podcast in June last year. He was the Australian guy that we had on who spoke about Ange. He's an Australian writer. He wrote an article today, and I was speaking to him over email about Riley McGree, and he seems to think that he could be a perfect fit for Ange's team, so maybe get him back on to speak about him at some point. But Danny, I'll come to you. As Tony mentioned, Celtic and the 9 clubs that Hingway take the Celtic pound, they were justified the day when the Scottish Government announced that full capacity crowds will be allowed in Scotland starting from Monday. So it'll only have been that one game on Boxing Day that crowds were limited to 500. It's, as I say, it's complete justification for bringing the winter break forward a week, and it's just we can get back to real football with real fans.
Oh, it's great news. I think it justifies the decision that the clubs made. I hear that 9 of the clubs made the decision for their fans, and then another club made the decision because they had a few players who were injured. But no, it was completely justified, I think. And when he spoke after the game, as Johnson said, he doesn't like to play in front of empty stadiums. And if we can give everybody a chance to get back to the games, then that's the best thing to do. And I think, Celtic and the rest of the teams that voted to bring the winter break forward have been completely justified. They don't want to play in empty stadiums every week like they did last year. It was shite, everybody knows it. We watched it. It was shite. Celtic beating Hamilton 5-1 the day the flag went up was shite. Celtic the rest of the season, shite. Only seemed to be one team that enjoyed playing it. And suddenly we've all bent to them. But the stadium's back open. People getting to go to the games, enjoying themselves, and let's get a second trophy season up and running. And what a better way than Hibs next week, Monday night at home. Probably freezing January night, but a full Celtic Park. I'm sure everybody that's going can't wait to get there.
I definitely am looking forward to it. It's Monday night football. I know we've had sort of a few weird kick-off times this season, like the Ferencváros game and that, and now going in for a midweek derby as well. But Monday night should be pretty special. I know it's only been a few weeks since the cup final, but just having it taken away from you and not knowing when you're going back, I think it caused a lot of panic and anxiety for people. And it'll just be great to be back at Celtic Park. Tony, as Danny said there, Ange said in his post-match, it was just to give the game a chance to get fans back, and thankfully the chance has paid off. And as me and Danny have said, just the completely right decision and completely justified now, and made a lot of people look stupid.
Well, that's it. There was so many people saying, we were scared to play games. I mean, we will play Rangers 3 times this season. Of that, there is absolutely no doubt. So it's not a game you can run for it. We will play them. I think the issue is they wanted to play us mute, us having our best players, and mute us having all the fans behind us, which kind of makes the idea that we're the shite bags quite funny. I think it's clearly the other way about, because the game's going to get played. It's not as if we can run or we're running for it. Don't get me wrong, it probably did suit us in terms of we were running a bit more injuries, but I'm sure with the players we had, we could probably we may well have won the Hibs game and the Rangers game. It's hard to tell because we were quite good against St Johnstone with a team that we just kind of flung together, but it's not the way it worked out. The fact that they brought the break forward was the right idea. I mean, we all pay season ticket money. I think, what is it, £50 to see Celtic v Rangers? That's maybe, I don't know, 10% of your overall season ticket, and you were expected to watch it in the house. I think the club done right by the fans. If you want to be at these games, you want to be at the Hibs game as well. It's very cliche, get the old football about fans is nothing, but it's fucking shite. It is shite with the fans. So I was delighted with the announcement today. I was a bit surprised. I didn't know if it was coming or no. And it's excellent. Monday night, no doubt the stadium will be rocking. I think a lot of people would have been panicking that we might have been in for another rough couple of months in terms of not been able to go to the football. And you could really sense on social media that this could have taken a real major toll on people's mental health because they'd had it back, then to swipe it away again. But as you say, luckily it was only that one game against St Johnstone and we managed to get the result. So I'm looking forward to it. I mean, the next 6 games are pretty wild. I think we're about Tynecastle, we've got Hibs, we've got Rangers, Alloa, and I think it might be Dundee United at home as well. So they're all must-win games. I'm sure the squad will be up for it. I'm sure the manager's up for it. And we're getting into such a massive period for the club, and I look forward to it. Obviously, we've got Bodo Glimp in the conference as well. They've sold, I think, a couple of their players. I know they sold their best players, so we've got a chance of European progression as well. So, it's been a good couple of weeks.
Aye, definitely. And we will just come on to a Hibs game. We can speak about the fans getting back in if you want, but thankfully we didn't miss any home games. But how do you see the Hibs game going? It's obviously we had a tight game with them in the cup final. Thankfully, Kyogo was the difference that day. But since then, Hibs have got a new manager. Sean Maloney's had a good start, and he a lot of fans have got great memories of Sean Maloney, myself included, and I'm sure he'll get a warm welcome at Celtic Park. But I think we'll be hoping to send him home sad and with a glum face. But Hibs are another team that I think they signed somebody for Bodo as well, but they are a few of their star players for Hibs level of star player that are being linked to moves up away. You've got Nisbet's been linked to a few championship teams, Porteous linked to Millwall, and most notably the main man this season, Martin Boyle, he's been linked to a mega money move over to the Far East, and I think there might be more of that. He could be missing that game if he gets his way and gets to go and speak to him. But Hibs always a tough test. How do you see it going?
Like you say, obviously Maloney's the wee man's got a lot of love for Celtic fans. He was a brilliant player for us. Grew up watching him play for Celtic, and I'm sure a lot of us did. But just didn't really care who's in there dugout. Believing we had glum look in his face, like you say. I think we're going to be up for it. I think that break would have done us good. I think we're coming into it strong. There's going to be a competition for places now as well. There's obviously the style of football and what Ange wants to see for these players. Like, competition really really will bring the best out of a lot of players playing that way. So I'm actually really looking forward to the game. Obviously it's great to get fucking fans back and not play this training game football where there's nobody there, and it generally feels like a bounce game or a kickabout with our pals at times. But it should be something we're all looking forward to. As Danny's mentioned, it likely be a full house at Celtic Park. Hopefully we'll get a chance to see some of our new boys. I'm really unsure about how Ange is going to line up, if he's going to sort of bring one of them in, two of them in, maybe all three. I really don't know. I think that's unlikely, but I suppose you never really know how the team's looking if anybody's picked anything up for training or anything like that. But it'll be a good opportunity for us to see sort of how we're coming out of the winter break. As has been mentioned, Karamoko's back in training, Julian back as well. I wouldn't imagine you'll sort of see them on the pitch, but maybe even Karamoko, I think, more likely to be on the bench than Julian would be. But I'm just really looking forward to getting back. So we're at the other end of that now. We can get back to watching the football, get back to everybody in the stadiums again. And I really do. I've been saying for a while I felt that we were due just to try to knock a few goals by somebody. And like I say, Hibs, they've got a few new signings in. I mean, they might not bed in as quickly either. Boyle, you would think, wants away, so missing their main man only be a positive as well. So I think it'll be a really good game. I think it'll be an entertaining game. Fans will be in sort of no doubt good spirits and good voice. Might be pushing the rain or something, but I think it'll be a good night all round. And I'm going to say like we're going to come away 3-0 victors. I've got a good feeling about it. I just think there's going to be a right sort of feel good factor, a right competitive nature about a lot of the boys in that squad. It really is sort of getting down to the nitty gritty, and we've obviously shown that if Ange isn't happy with the squad and where it's at, then he's going to go and replace it. There's nobody can sort of rest in their laurels. I don't think any player on that team's safe really. Maybe Joe Hart's the only one I suppose could say he is, but we're starting to get to a place now where you're looking and saying, right, we've got 2, maybe 3 options in some positions. And it's sort of if you're no on it, then there'll be somebody turning right behind you, ready to prove his point to the manager. And obviously some of these boys have played under him before, know what he's all about. So I'm looking forward to it, and I think we'll win 3-0. Darling. Can't wait to get back.
Aye, it should be a good game. Hopefully the crowd do spur Celtic on to what will be an important victory if we do get it. But Danny, do you think the atmosphere will undoubtedly be pretty good on Monday night? Do you think that will help Celtic see it? They've already beat Hibs twice this season. Obviously that fantastic first 45 minutes at Easter Road and then beat them in the cup final. Do you think we'll make it 3 out of 3 against Hibs this season?
Aye, I think we will. I think we'll make it 3 out of 3. I think it's too early for like proper predictions. You don't know who's fit, who's not fit yet, but the crowd will be right up for it. I mean, a possibility of not being able to get back into stadiums for a while when it was announced in December, and then you look at like what happened at, the last couple of years. We thought you'd get back in after a couple of weeks, and it ends up being fucking 16, 17 months. So to get back in, everybody will just be, I think a lot of people will be feeling quite kind of privileged, and they'll get to go to the game again, and a lot of folk will just be right up for it, and hopefully that can only really inspire Celtic on, hopefully, to get a good win. But I can see Hibs look like Maloney looks like he's got a good tune out of Hibs so far, and I know there's the potential for them to Hibs it, shall we say, by letting go a few of their key players. I think Boyle would probably prefer to go to Saudi Arabia and earn a lot of money for a couple of years like everybody else would. So you need to see how it goes, but I would be fully expecting the players to react to the crowd being right up for it, and kick off the second half of the season with a really big one.
Got a prediction for it, Danny?
I'll go 3-1 Celtic, and I think 2 of the new boys will score their first goals.
Aye, that's both you and Danny both said 3. You're keen as a goal against, but we'll see. As another result we'd obviously take. Tony, it's one of the few times in the last few weeks that Celtic will play before that mob at the top of the table, so it's a chance we can put some pressure on them. They've got Pittodrie on the Tuesday night, so if Celtic can go out and get the win, it'll put a bit of pressure on their trip to Aberdeen. They've obviously dropped points there. They're against Aberdeen even this season already. So do you think Celtic will be able to, with a few bodies back, put their foot on the gas and try and just get within 3 points of Rangers?
I had no idea that they played the Tuesday. I thought everybody was playing the same time. Well, that's an added incentive, obviously, for I think 4 or 5 games they played before us. We managed to do well on 4 of them, and then we slipped up at St Mirren. So I think we'll win. We should be winning. I know Maloney's obviously got a lot of knowledge of the game for his time at Belgium, and I think he speaks really, really well about the about the games. We could be a Celtic manager in training, but hopefully he leaves Parkhead with fuck all come Monday. I think 3-1 as well. I think we'll, if we've got everybody fit and firing, then I think we could we'll definitely get a couple of goals. No, I'm looking forward to it. I'll go for a Kyogo double, and I'll go for, well, who will I go? I'll go for Rogic to get the other one. I'm not going to say any of the new signings. I'll score. I don't want to jinx them. So, 3-1, and hopefully Aberdeen can do your turn. But I think the way it's gone, Rangers have been very consistent under Van Bronckhorst, to be fair to them. So I think we'll need to just keep in touch and then beat them ourselves. Is really what the aim needs to be.
I think we will have enough to see off Hibs. I think it'll be a tough game, but with their sort of off the field transfers, if that means that Boyle's left out, that's a big plus for Celtic. But at Celtic Park, I think we're probably too much of a match for anybody in the league, and I think that we should be too strong. But obviously, we have drop points already at home. When Dundee United came there, we drop points, so it was something we'll need to be wary of. But I think Maloney is a good appointment for Hibs. I think he will do well. Obviously, won his first 2 games, and he'll be looking to make it 3 out of 3, but I can't see it happening. But I think his team will come out and try and play, which might suit Celtic in terms of being able to pick teams off in the break. Obviously, we've had the Livy draw as well, where it was sort of 11 men behind the ball, and we were very frustrated that day, but I can't see Hibs being the same. So with it being a slightly more open game than usual at Celtic Park, I would expect us to pick them off. Plus, I don't know how many of the new signings will be in about it. I actually think Maeda might be the one that's thrown straight in, especially if Jota's still out. I think that Maeda could go in on the left there, and with it being a Monday, I think it might be a Maeda Monday, and I think he'll get on the score sheet. And it's a sort of unknown for them, a bit like when Kyogo came to Scotland. The defenders in the league couldn't cope with him, and that could be the same with these new guys that were brought in, who these sort of guys in the SPFL haven't came across before, so it could be to our benefit again. But I think we all have enough. I think the team needed the break in terms of just getting a bit of rest, like especially guys like Kyogo. That's probably Kyogo's first proper week off in like a year or something. And when you look at when the J League started last season, and I know he's had injuries that have kept him out, but just in terms of having an actual few weeks without any pressure of getting fit or getting ready for the game, so hopefully he is ready to go and can make a difference again against Hibs. But I think Maeda might be the star on Monday, and I think Celtic will win 4-0, and I think Maeda will get a double, and we'll go for Carter Vickers and Callum McGregor to get the other goals. But that is us going to wrap up this first episode of 2022. It's been a positive one. Hopefully Celtic can keep the positivity coming with new signings and with a good performance on Monday. Just a big thanks to everybody that has subscribed on YouTube. Just search for 4Tims. We've hit the 1K mark, so that's obviously good for us. And everybody that just subscribes wherever you subscribe, Apple, Google, Spotify, wherever, it helps us out. And hopefully this will be the 2022 that we're actually able to celebrate more success. We ended 2021 with a cup, and hopefully we go into this year with one or two more coming in the next 6 months. But we will be back after the Hibs game, so that'll probably be on Tuesday. Just by the time we get home from the game, it'll probably be too late for a Monday night. But tune in on Tuesday and you'll hear our Hibs review, and we will speak to you when we record that. Thanks for listening. Cheers.